Discuss military tactics. I don't think anyone in our system is going to talk to you about what we have planned or what we intend to do, and there's obvious reasons for it. But to the extent it has to do with like military tactics and plans, I would refer you to the Department of War, and the Department of War is probably going to tell you they can't tell you anything. So other than to say that we have objectives, I've told you what those objectives are, and we are very confident that we are on the verge of achieving them very, very soon.
Any of the G7 were upset or off-put at all by the president's comments?
They never act that way in front of me. Maybe they say that to you guys, or maybe they say that in other interviews or when they go on the press, but not in front of me they don't. I never get that. On the contrary, these meetings are oftentimes about thanking America for the role we've played in trying to bring peace in Sudan. The recognition that the president played a key role in ending what was happening in Gaza. Recognition of the role we've played in stabilizing Syria. Recognition, despite what they may have said in the press, that what we did in Venezuela was good for the world and good for our region in the Western Hemisphere. A recognition of the role we've played in setting up, along with others like Canada, the gang suppression force in Haiti. So, and appreciation for the mediating role we've tried to play in this war between Russia and Ukraine. So I don't know. I mean, you guys ask me these questions like if I go into these meetings and these people are angry, no one there screams or raises their voice or says anything negative. And if they did, I would remind them, but I don't need to, but I would remind them of the role America's played over the last year. It's been a very productive role and very helpful to them. And I would just say this, and I said this yesterday, I'll say it again now. Iran is governed, not the Iranian people. The Iranian people are phenomenal people. They deserve way better than what they have, which is a radical Shia clerical regime that has basically taken that country's wealth and used it not to build roads and bridges, not to build healthcare systems or universities, not to build a better, more prosperous country. They've used the wealth of that country to sponsor terrorism, build rockets, build drones, build missiles, build sea mines. That's what they've done with it, and try to kill people all over the world. And this has to be dealt with. That country was a threat for 47 years. Okay? That regime has been trying to kill and has been killing Americans all over the world for 47 years. We have a president that was not going to allow that to continue unfettered. So when we are done, Iran was already weak. When we are done with them here in the next couple of weeks, they will be weaker than they've been in recent history, and they will not be able to hide behind those weapons to break out and get a nuclear weapon, which would be crazy. For these people to ever get nuclear weapons would be crazy. Look what they're willing to do with the weapons they have now. They hit embassies, they target hotels, they try to kill civilians, they splash out at all their neighbors. Imagine if these radical lunatics had a nuclear weapon to threaten the world with.
Secretary, on Russia-Ukraine, you tweeted out that you conveyed the president's commitment to a ceasefire and negotiate a settlement. Is ceasefire back on the table now?
In where?
In Russia,
Russia-Ukraine. Yeah, we always want to see the end of that war. I don't know why that's been a question. You know, the last meetings we've had on it were last Saturday in Miami, where Steve and Jared met with the Ukrainian side. There are no meetings scheduled as of now. Obviously, you know, that war that goes on and it continues, and it's a very unfortunate war. The loss of life there is tremendous. The Russian side in particular is losing, I think they're losing now more soldiers than they're recruiting. But it's you know, we're ready. We're ready to play whatever constructive role we can to bring that war to an end. But obviously there are a lot of other things going on in the world as well.
Mr. Secretary, on Russia, Ukraine, there were reports that the U.S. was going to divert some weapons for Ukraine in the Pearl system to help make up for the munitions expended in the Middle East. Is that accurate, and is that a message you communicated?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. Nothing yet has been diverted, but it could. I mean, frankly, it's not diverted. These are not diverted weapons. These are our weapons. These are sales. These are military sales through Pearl, paid for by NATO. And so the question at some point is, if we have a need, let me be clear, if the United States has a military need, whether it is to replenish our stocks or to fulfill some mission in the national interest of the United States, we're always going to come first when it comes to our weapons. I think that's true of every country in the world, unless they're a country that doesn't want to survive. So I don't have anything to announce. It's not like I can tell you that that's happening right now, but it could happen, and it could have always happened. If we need something for America, and it's American, we're going to keep it for America first. But as of now, that has not happened. So far, Pearl has been unaffected by this operation.
Have you seen an increase in Russia's support for Iran in this war? And why was now an appropriate time for sanctioned Russian lawmakers to come to the U.S.? Why?
Well, that was scheduled previously. Not all of them were able to come, only 4 I think we authorized to come. We still think, let's separate 2 issues here. Russia is still a powerful country with nuclear weapons, and it is important for nuclear powers to have some engagement at the governmental level, just like we do at the diplomatic level. I don't think that was a major concession in any way, shape, or form. What was the first part of your question?
Has there been an increase in Russia's support to Iran?
Look, I'm not going to, let me put it to you this way. There is nothing Russia is doing for Iran that is in any way impeding or affecting our operation or the effectiveness of it. That's the best way that I can put it.
So did the U.S. tell Zelensky that security guarantees depend on withdrawal from Donbass?
That's a lie. And I saw him say that, and it's unfortunate he would say that because he knows that's not true, and that's not what he was told. What he was told is the obvious. Security guarantees are not going to kick in until there's an end to a war, because otherwise you're getting yourself involved in the war. Okay, what is a security guarantee? It is troops that are willing to step in and secure. If you put that in place now, that means you're injecting yourself in the war. What he was told very clearly, and he should have understood it, is that the security guarantees come only after there is an end to the war. But that was not attached to unless he gives up territory. I don't know why he says these things. They're just not true.
What is the U.S. position on Donbass?
We've told the Ukrainian side what the Russians are insisting on. We're not advocating for it. We've explained it to them. It's their choice to make. It's not for us to make for them. We've never told them they have to take it or leave it. The role we have played is to try to figure out what both sides want and see if we can bridge the middle ground. The decision ultimately is up to Ukraine. If they don't want to make certain decisions or certain concessions, then the war keeps going. Same with the Russian side. If they don't want to make certain concessions to the Ukrainian side, then the war keeps going. We're going to continue to try to facilitate what is possible. If it's not possible, then the war will continue, sadly.
Secretary, with the troops being sent to the Middle
What do
East...
you have set up? Are you a court reporter?
Desk.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
The troops being
How
sent...
come the rest of you don't have that? Go ahead.
The troops being sent to the Middle East, sir, what role could they serve other than preparing the way for a potential ground invasion? And while you speak about several weeks, are you concerned that this could embroil the U.S. in the kind of prolonged conflict, that President Trump came to office promising to avoid?
This is not going to be a prolonged conflict. The objectives I've outlined to you, again, I repeat them, because I see these reports of like the U.S. is not clear on what objectives are. We've been as clear as you can possibly be from the very first night of what the objectives of this mission are. We're going to destroy their factories that make missiles and rockets and drones. We're going to destroy their Navy. We're going to destroy their Air Force. And we are going to significantly destroy their missile launchers so they can never hide behind these things to get a nuclear weapon. We are achieving all those objectives. We are ahead of schedule on most of them. And we can achieve them without any ground troops, without any. Now, in terms of why there's deployments, number one, the president has to be prepared for multiple contingencies, which I'm not going to discuss in the media. And again, I refer you to the Department of War, who will probably tell you the exact same thing. But we can achieve all of our objectives without ground troops, but we are always going to be prepared to give the president maximum optionality and maximum opportunity to adjust to contingencies should they emerge.
Mr. Secretary, on Cuba, two questions. So, for decades, you have been a proponent of regime change, but is there a deal?
I don't know why there's any
for
confusion on
you?
that.
Is there a deal for you where the Castro family remains in place, and that's
Not about the Castro family. It's about a system of government and a regime that doesn't work. Guys, a couple things on Cuba. I didn't come all the way to France to talk about Cuba, but let's talk about Cuba. It's perfect. I'm happy to do it because we actually talked about it in the G7. So it's actually... No, of course not. Plus, we talked about it in the G7, okay? Everybody talks about these blackouts. Cuba's been having blackouts all of last year, all the year before. There isn't a naval blockade surrounding Cuba. The reason why Cuba doesn't have oil and fuel is because they want it for free. And people don't give away oil and fuel for free on a regular basis unless it was the Soviet Union subsidizing them or Maduro subsidizing them. They just don't do it. They may get a shipment here or there now and then but not enough to sustain their country. Okay, so the reason why they're having that's why they don't have fuel. And the reason why they're having blackouts is because they have equipment from the 1950s and 60s that they never maintained or kept up. Okay, but ultimately the reason why Cuba's a disaster is because their economic system doesn't work. It's a nonsensical system, and the people of Cuba are suffering because of the decisions, because of the unwillingness of the people who govern that country to make the changes that need to be made so they can join the 21st century. It is sad that the only place Cubans can only be successful if they leave the country. That's a very sad thing. You see Cubans go all over the world and find success except in Cuba. That has to change, and for that to change, you need to change the people in charge, you need to change the system that runs the country, and you need to change the economic model that it's following. That's the only way forward if Cuba wants a better future. We've expressed that clearly and repeatedly over many years, and maybe now there's an opportunity to do it. We'll see.
Secretary, going back to Iran, is it your understanding that they'll convey their response to the 15-point plan today? And are you looking for anything in particular?
We haven't gotten it yet. Look, we've got messages. We've had an exchange of messages and indications from the Iranian system, whatever's left of it, about a willingness to talk about certain things. We're waiting for further clarification about who is it that we would be talking to, what will we be talking about, and when will we be talking. I don't have any news for you on that yet. It could happen at any moment. It could happen today. It could happen tomorrow. We're not predicting it, and we're going to continue with our operation.
Signal that they're still serious in your own view.
Well, I mean, signal is they call you and say, these are the people that speak on our behalf now. This is what they're allowed to talk about, and this is when we're prepared to meet to talk further. That would be a signal. But in the meantime, we continue with our operation, a very successful operation. Every single day, Iran gets weaker and weaker. The Department of War is doing a tremendous job of weakening that regime and its ability to lash out against its neighbors and threaten the world.
Can I ask you about the West?
With Europe in response to what was presented today in terms of
well, we had a good. I mean,
polling?
yeah, I'm happy about. There was seemed to be agreement in that room that we need to be ready to do something. I mean, I think.
But is it okay? Is it okay with you guys if they don't come in and do anything until after?
Well, we don't. No. Hold on. We're not asking for anybody's help on this war. The president's been clear. We're not asking for anybody to join the war. We're not asking for anyone to get involved in the war. We're not asking for anyone to get involved in this operation. We're not asking for that. We're not asking any country. We don't need it. We're doing it. We're doing the job, and we're ahead of schedule. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this. There are some in the Iranian regime that are going around saying that they want to make the Strait of Hormuz tolling thing. They want to make it permanent. That's unacceptable. The whole world should be outraged by it. We're impacted by it a little bit, but the rest of the world is impacted by it a lot more, including many of the countries represented today here at the G7. And so if those countries are deeply impacted by it, all we've said is, you guys need to do something about it. We'll help you, but you guys are going to need to be ready to do something about it. Because when this conflict and when this operation ends, if the Iranians decide, well, now we control the Straits of Hormuz, and you can only go through here if you pay us, and if we allow you to, that's not only is it illegal under international law and maritime law, it's unacceptable. And that can't be allowed to exist. And so what we've said is that the countries that are most impacted by that should be willing to do something about it, and we'll help them. And that's what I said today, and I had a good reception to that message.
Did you hear about the foreign minister, or the Iranian foreign minister, what he said at the UN Human Rights Commission, accusing the U.S. and Israel of genocide, essentially?
The Iranian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, he's an expert in genocide. They're experts in that because, they sponsor terrorism all over the world, and they've killed thousands and thousands of people. Look at the Middle East. Look at the Middle East, guys. Every problem in the Middle East tracks back to Iran. Hezbollah, Iran. Shia militias that are destroying and threatening Iraq, Iran. Hamas, Iran. The Houthis, Iran. Assad when he was in Syria, Iran. Everywhere you turn, they're behind all of it. They are a destabilizing, dangerous, evil force that had to be dealt with. They have to be weakened.
Could I ask you about the West Bank? What's your level of concern about violence by settlers against Palestinians?
Well, we're concerned about that, and we've expressed it. And I think there's concern in the Israeli government about it as well. I'm sure you've seen the reports that some of these individuals have also attacked security forces, Israeli security forces, in the process. So we're concerned about that, and obviously the president has expressed very clearly that he's against any sort of change in the status quo in the West Bank. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now, but that is a topic we follow very closely.
Will there be repercussions if these attacks continue against Palestinians?
We've expressed our concern about it, and obviously I think the Israelis themselves have expressed concern. You've seen that some of these groups and individuals, maybe they're settlers, maybe they're just street thugs, but they've attacked security forces, Israelis as well. So I think you'll see the government there do something about it.
Oil was about the topic came up today about Chernobyl power plant repair fund. Has the U.S. committed any funding?
We have not as of yet. It didn't come up directly in today's conversations, but I know it's been a topic that's been talked about. We haven't made a decision on what we can contribute to that yet.
Have we, on the temporary oil sanctions relief for Russian oil, I'm just wondering if those will truly be temporary, and what's the plan and time frame?
Well, right now I think they expire April 9th or 10th, and it's only about the oil that's in the water. So we don't have, that's not a permanent policy of the United States. Obviously, we'll make adjustments if necessary, given global conditions. But ultimately, the president has not indicated his desire to permanently lift any of these sanctions. This has to do mostly with oil that's already out in the water and was either going to go to, for example, to China at a discount. Now it's just, that oil is going to be sold one way or the other. The only difference is, are more countries eligible to buy it to take a little bit of the strain off the global concerned about what's happening in this operation.
And then on the Strait of Hormuz again, I mean, I know it's there's been discussions of a potential multinational coalition after the conflict ends. I'm just wondering if any of the G7 countries you spoke to today gave any sort of early commitments that they would want their military.
I think they all gave a commitment that they understood the necessity for it potentially, and that there would be a need to participate in something like that. I think some of the confusion over the first couple weeks, maybe in the media, maybe in other forums, is this idea that somehow we were asking for that to start immediately. I think we've always viewed it as a post-conflict necessity. Look, I don't care what Iran says. The first few tankers that go through the straits after this operation is over, they're going to want an escort from somebody, or they're not going to be able to get insurance. So the world better step up. But we have a second problem, and that is, what if Iran decides, or whoever's in charge over there, whether this Ayatollah is alive or the new Ayatollah or whatever it is, what if they decide, hey, we like this tolling, we're going to start charging everyone to come through here, we're going to blow you up? The world better step up and do something about it. And so, especially the countries that most depend on the straits, rich countries, powerful countries, capable countries. So we'll be there to help. We're willing to be a part of that coalition, but we've encouraged others to sort of put it together. And many today signified not only that they understood that message and agreed with it, that they were working hard to make that happen. All right, it's getting cold. We're out. Let's go.